have a little surprise for you because you are the presenters for today. Nicole and I simply are here to facilitate for you, although we do have some information to share with you. And so our topic today is humanizing online learning and pedagogy. And through this process, we're going to share some ways to add some of those interactions. You'll have another chance at a different Slido in just a few moments too. We're going to think about it from the student perspective, and we're going to take a deeper dive into what that means, humanizing online learning and pedagogy, and hopefully you come away from it with some new ideas, some new perspectives. So essentially, while we have a great deal of technology and have been using it for about 4 months straight now as with our classes, technology can be a double-edged sword. It can help make us more powerful and help us overcome what seem to be challenges, and yet it can also create some additional barriers. So we want to take a look at how we can overcome those challenges and those barriers. Some of the dehumanizing impact of some of the digital tools that we use are that they can restrict human connections. We tend to get ourselves seated in front of the computer and feel like we don't really have any of those human connections, and that we're not really in touch with anyone. And that's kind of the way things have been. And yet most of us have been more connected over the last several months than we thought possible. Digital tools can also limit our collaborative effects, or some of the dehumanizing part of it is that we feel like it can limit our collaborative effects, although we have been really doing a great deal of collaborating lately, but increasing screen time, absolutely, for sure. And so thinking about the dehumanizing aspect of it, let's go in. And so this is a direct quote. When they relate to an online instructor, and this is exactly what you all were putting in your comments earlier, as far as what is humanizing, when they relate as something more than just the subject matter expert. And when we saw some comments in our Slido poll about subject matter, but we also saw about the other side of it as well. But then they see the person on the other side of the computer as a real person and feel like they are indeed a part of the whole, a part of the efforts, and part of that whole community. So humanized learning, and you touched on this as well in your comments. It makes the relevance a whole lot more important, and it serves to improve the student's motivation. Humanizing helps creating open-ended tasks, journaling, sharing ideas, moving away from a standardized curriculum format into more of a sharing, having things interactive together. Also opportunities for dialogue and discourse, because true learning really is interactive. So the ways our students can share, but also the idea about metacognition and self-reflection. So those are some of the ideas, and I will be sharing these articles with you when we send the information out after the session. Oh, I love this. Look at all of these wonderful ideas. Video postcards. I want to hear more about that. The mid-semester check-in, and we'll even see that we could even do it more often than that. The a welcome video, a welcome message, just, hi, I'm glad you're there. simulations, and those are we have quite a few types of courses that definitely lend themselves to that. Kahoot, which I love. That's a fun tool, and that reminds me because I haven't used it in a while. So I need to go back in and use that with some of my classes. Promoting conversation, absolutely. Simulations, WebEx, various videos, video-based assessments. And we have a lot of people doing that, a lot of people doing that. Sending out video announcements. I like that. I'm hoping that you will share some of that with us as we get back in there. So keep adding to that. And again, I will send this out for you as well. I will send you uh, all of the things that you have posted in here. So keep adding to this: pictures, discussions, groups. Yeah, the pictures really are a huge and really important component in this. Humanizing is making the emphasis on the social presence. And some of these things we talked about recently, but we're adding to it this time. So this is your opportunity to let your personality and your passion shine through, because every one of you is an expert on something and you're passionate about that topic. So this is the opportunity to let that passion, that personality shine through. Icebreakers are always a really effective um, way of getting into the topic. I nearly always start classes with an icebreaker, and sometimes they relate to the content that's coming, to have students start thinking in terms of what we'll be sharing in the session for that particular time. And sometimes they're just, something random off task. But the timely, respective, the caring feedback is such an important thing. Everyone wants to feel like their assignments are not just being graded, but are really seen and considered, taking a look at it. So feedback is a really powerful way for teachers to be able to, again, put that human presence in. We also have the idea of being able to use, and you reference this in a couple of your comments, video and audio discussion boards. We've had a lot of people in the e-certification workshop using audio this time, but also with video. And that's such a great way of getting the personality across. Flipgrid is an amazing tool for doing that. This is just a little quick 7-second video that I did in Flipgrid. So just to be able to share that is a really excellent way of just doing a quick video, posting it in there, or putting it into your course. You want to also encourage personal reflections, having them just doing a regular check-in with them. You mentioned a mid-semester check-in, but it could be a check-in every week, every other week, something like that. Think about how they're feeling in terms of their involvement with the course, but also, what's going on in their lives, and how they're keeping everything balanced. So doing those regular check-ins. And in terms of the check-ins, this is one that has some was a suggestion from one of the sources that we had, as a way of just connecting with them. What went well for you with this task? What would you do differently next time? Has your thinking changed? So any comments? What are some of the things that you do that you ask your students in the check-ins? Put something in the chat. Just a chance for you to think about the types of the questions you either have used if you've done the check-ins, or would like to use, want to use as we're thinking about moving into the fall semester? What sort of questions would you want to ask your students? And so some of this, and again, this a lot of the information has come from. I have followed Michelle Pacansky Brock for a while. I've seen her at several different conferences, and this is one of the focus that she does is the humanizing, the making sure that our students know that we uh, have pets, we have kids, we go to the grocery store, we go out for walks. And one of the things that I thought was a really powerful statement from one of her presentations was, even though the term that has been used for several months now is social distancing, but it truly is physical distancing, because social distancing is what we have come to know as a way to help stop the spread of COVID-19. But uh, social distancing, social connection is truly what is an important piece of it. So it's physical distancing to help us keep it, uh, stop the spread of the disease, but also social connections. So Mark Mark says he asks about their weekend, about their jobs. Those are some excellent things to do. And so the antidote to that is connection, making sure that we stay connected with our students. And so those connections occur on a regular basis online. So I am going to ask you to share an example in the chat of how you have connected with others even while we have been self-isolating. So Donna, check in to see how they're handling distancing and share tips for it. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What else? What's something, an example of how you have connected with others? I I want to get your input in this. Okay, WebEx office hours, and that is a great way of staying connected with them. And WebEx personal appointments, Zoom staff meetings. Yeah, Teams is another really effective way. That's our department has been using Teams all along as for the staff. Chatting, telephoning, and video calls. Excellent ideas. Excellent ways of staying connected. Staying connected. What else do we have in there? Some lots of personal connections. Flipgrid in my courses and did a check-in that way rather than usual announcement. I like that. That's a great idea. Breakout groups is also, and every one of the online tools that are available to us has breakout sessions available. Nancy, would you be willing to open your mic and share some of your Flipgrid comments with us, please?
Hi, everyone. I actually use Flipgrid for a number of different assignments, but one thing that I've been trying to do this summer is I started in the spring kind of doing check-ins once we transitioned to fully online. And I was doing announcements in the spring, but in the summer I started doing check-ins with Flipgrid. Just because it's more of an informal type of video, kind of assignment. I had students accessing it through their, mobile device. They could be outside, wherever they are, and really kind of humanized, or brought a more humanized experience to my course. And they got to share how they're doing other than reflections on assignments that we're doing. they also kind of were able to share how they're dealing with things, how their life has changed, especially since the course that I was teaching involved pandemics. So we were able to compare pandemics and what we're currently going through. And they were able to incorporate kind of what's going on in their personal lives, how they're dealing with it, which I thought made it fun.
Yeah. And Nancy, Robert has the question. Can you give us a response? What is Flipgrid? Can you give us an elevator description?
Sure, sure. You know, honestly, the way I introduce it to my students, it's like that Canvas discussion board forum, but rather than it being written, it's video based. You can integrate it in your Canvas classroom. So my students access it through Canvas, either through their laptop, it could be through their mobile device, going through the Canvas app, and you have your prompt or your assignment where I usually do a video just telling them what I want them to answer, what this assignment entails. And then their responses are these videos that everything is kind of done through the course. And they also respond to each other via video as well. So it kind of makes you think of that Canvas discussion board that we usually use. It's just everything's done through video rather than written format or text format.
So Renee, does that answer your question? And you can open your mic and ask.
Answer her question. And yes, students they see all the videos posted, and they're able to see the student responses there as well. So other than, and you as the instructor actually have access through the Grade Center if you want, but the students do see each other's videos, and that's how they're able to respond.
And they can respond to each other in that. That was a little bit of a side conversation, but I happen to know that Renee is planning on using Flipgrid extensively in her course. And so those are some questions that I think we all probably can share with. Any other examples of how you have connected with others, even though we've been self-isolating? Oh, and Nancy Renee has a question about how you set up the check-in Flipgrid. Is that done through just an announcement or just on the fly?
Yes, I actually link that assignment because it's created as an assignment to the announcement, letting them click here to jump in and do the check-in. And I set it up the same deadline. So I'd give them, I always tend to have my deadline, my due dates on Sundays, and I'll be like, this check-in's open till Sunday, please, respond, let me know how you guys are doing. And I usually kind of run it that way.
Sounds like it must be time to do another Flipgrid professional development session because Charlotte, it is not hard at all to set up Flipgrid, and it is an LTI that is available to us within Canvas. So it stays right within Canvas. Yes, thank you. On a family note, I have even used my WhatsApp to be able to connect with family members, and both via text, but also with the video call through there. I have not done that with students, but have done that with family. Okay, so what I'm showing you next is one part, and I will share them. Let me get where I have it here because I have the whole thing. This is one part of a infographic that Michelle Pacansky-Brock created, and this is just the very top part of it. And I'm going to be sending this out to you when we send out the information after this session is over. But about, again, having to do with humanizing the online, and she starts it out by the same things that we've talked about. The fact that it helps students' motivation to stay involved with it. So facilitating that humanizing touch in your courses involves, as you've already touched on, all of you really are really right on target with all of this. You're present. Don't be a robot, making sure that you have a lively welcome video, and I have a feeling that that several of you have already done this and know that this is one way of reaching out, just making sure they know you're excited about what you're doing. A welcome video, uh, give them feedback in audio or video. And it is interestingly, I keep forgetting about doing that. And it is so much easier to do a video feedback or even an audio feedback. And it helps them hear your voice and see you when you do video. It's so cool. Um, and one of the other things, and in fact, I just got an article in my email this morning about doing synchronous meetings and how that helps keep that personal touch in there. And that's definitely a key component. So schedule synchronous meetings with them, with your classes, or with students or groups of students on an as needed basis. So the second part of that facilitation is it has to do with empathy. And again, I am talking to the choir here because I can tell by your comments that that this is a group that is more than willing to share their empathy. But be aware when our students need a little bit of extra support, knowing that they have a life outside of their classwork as well. And considering what everyone has been through the last several months, those lives have a certain amount of stress involved with them. We had a wonderful session with that a few weeks back that talked about some of the stresses that our students are experiencing. So be aware of the fact that they are indeed going through things just as we all are. So make sure that they know they can reach out to you. Hey, I might be late on this assignment because I had to take my aunt to the doctors or whatever. Check in with them individually. Be really, really conscious of students and how they are moving through the course, letting them know that that you're there for them. Reach out to them individually and help them through these challenges. We all are dealing with challenges, but we have a little bit more experience in handling some of these things than some of our students do. And send a supportive video message to a struggling student. One of the things that you can do in Flipgrid is just set up just a small, quick, like I said, I had that 7-second one video that I recorded to put in this. And so you can set up a little quick video, get the link to it, and send it out. And then the third part of her ideas on facilitation has to do with awareness and being, knowing what our students are capable of, and knowing their where they want to go with the course. Her suggestion is doing a survey of your students in week 1, which I think is an excellent idea. I think some of you also are doing that as well. I know I've worked with several of you, and a survey at the beginning is truly a way of getting a feel for what their expectations are as well. And the icebreaker thing to get the students connected, and that's always fun, whether it has anything to do with the content of the class or not. Just something random. What have you done to yeah, have you been outside lately? Where do you go? What do you do? How do you keep yourself focused or motivated? And then her other one is the formative feedback loops. And as I said, this is just a part of her whole infographic, and I will be sending that out to you when we finish this. And Nancy says voice messages and videos is a way of sharing feedback, saves time. And why do I keep forgetting about that? Oh my gosh, I need to get myself back in the habit of doing that. Thank you, Nancy. So the social presence, and this again is from some of the Dr. Pakensky Brock's stuff, is when they know that we recognize them, there is higher student satisfaction. There's more frequent student to student interactions, and that is an important part of it. And it's their actual learning as well as their perceived learning is also increased in it. Uh, Thank you, Mark. Yes, valuable. There are some really good ideas, really good ideas. And Renee, thank you. Video feedback and the messages. So I'm going to share something with you. And again, we'll be sending this whole presentation out to you. But this is one of her suggestions. And I love this idea of creating a learning pact. Right at the beginning of the semester, and have your students either add to it or agree to it in a discussion. So here's what you can expect from me, and you can see there's a nice list. I have thought of a couple of things that I would add to that. This one is from hers, and she says you're free to adapt it as works for you without attribution. And it is available it is a public domain item. So here's what you can expect from me. I am making a commitment to you to do this, and this for you throughout this semester. And here's what I will expect from you. And those both pieces of that are important items and things that that are essential and helps the students to think about it. I think posting it in a discussion board and having some interaction that way, and then let the students make their own commitments to you as well as your commitments to them. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. I will be sharing this whole presentation with everyone as we at some point later on today, after all of the specifics come in. Yeah. And there was another talk about flexibility and deadlines and being fair to the whole class and teaching students the importance of deadlines, especially in certain professions. And that's two sides of that same coin. We have to understand our students and know that there are times when we have to be flexible, and yet there are also, we're going into fields. I know Nancy is in healthcare administration, Renee is in accounting, Mark is in history, and there have to be certain deadlines in order for it to be fair to everyone. Plus, they have to know that when they get out in the field, there will be deadlines that are not negotiable. So yeah, there has to be a balance in understanding that. Thank you for mentioning that, Renee. So I am curious about what motivates you. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to do some reflecting and to share in the chat or raise your hand, and we will unmute your mic if you would like to speak up and share. So what motivates you? What has kept you going through these, especially through these last several months, but what keeps you going on a regular basis? What is your motivation? So, okay, Robert, hope for the future. Thank you. Yes, yeah. My colleagues and a quality student experience. That truly is. Feel motivated when my students feel they are learning and growing. Thank you, Chantal. Yes, definitely, definitely. And
we also had one before all of those, but it was sent to me, and it was Love of Learning from Dr. Ganson.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. The love of learning. And you know what? That's why we all do what we do is the love of learning and the wanting to share that love with our students. Uh, Charlotte, keep working and learning to teach asynchronous and synchronized learning. I love that. Synchronized learning makes me think of the synchronized swimming things that I used to see wow, up at Cypress Gardens. Okay, and Mark, the opportunity to share my excitement about research, writing, learning. Started out as an undergrad. I enjoy seeing students across 2 or 3 years and getting a glimpse of their maturation. Yeah, that was one of the things that I enjoyed in a previous teaching position because I taught science and I taught it for K through 5. So I was able to watch the kids grow and learn as we went along. What a great experience to be able to see and enjoy them uh, as they grow and start to develop. Beautiful ideas, beautiful ideas. Thank you. Keep working and learning. Our motivation, keeping in touch with nature. Charlotte, you have absolutely nailed one of mine. I have to be able to get outside and enjoy the trees or the squirrels or the birds or the ducks or whatever. Yeah, I have to. That's how I am able to stay grounded is keeping in touch with nature. Yeah, Renee says the same thing too. Yeah, absolutely. Those are the valuable experiences. And I've been doing that really through all of this. Get out and walk a little bit. I mean, that's certainly, oh, nature assignments. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. When we are meeting on campus, I always take my classes out to the on the Tortuga Trail every semester. So I'm going to have to figure out some way of shifting that around, but I'll figure it out. Helping students achieve their professional goals through academic achievement. Excellent. Thank you, Dr. Broad. That is indeed helping them figure out. First of all, I teach an sort of an entry level course in the field of education. So first of all, helping them figure out their professional goals and then what they need to do to get to them. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Absolutely. So this is a quote from Brene Brown. Vulnerability, and that's one of the things that's a key point of hers, the birthplace of creativity, risk-taking, and innovation. And that's what I'm seeing and hearing in your comments. So here's my you've got this. I'm, like I said, talking to the choir here. The courses that make a difference in our students' lives are those that have someone who is genuinely caring, and it shows. The students know that right from day one. They just want to know that their faculty cares about them. They will, for the most part, go through whatever we set up for them as long as they know that there is someone who cares about their learning on the other end. You've got this. Thank you. Thank you. And so you have been great, great teachers today. Thank you for joining, for sharing this journey, for your dedication to your students, and for being your amazing self.